Hey everyone, this is Maria Mejia, owner of A Good Balance. I'm just on here. I'm just going to discuss about why we should have a budget in our lives. I'll be focusing mainly on individual or family budgets, but these theories can also relate to a business budget as well. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask them, and we can see where this goes. So, as some of you may know, that it is Financial Literacy Month here in Canada, and I'm just wanting to share financial facts with people. Um, so, if you haven't seen on my blog, um, I'll link it right now so you can have a peek. You can see that each week this month we'll be covering a different topic. So for this week, you need to start with a budget. So when people think of having a budget, um, probably think of, what's your income, and then you minus all of your expenses, all your bills, um, the things that you might use, vacations you might go. But people usually think of budget either as a short-term thing on a monthly basis or really long and broad, a year. A budget can really be from a single day to an entire year or years, depending on how far in the future you want to look. I've had a budget in my family I've done year-long budgets, which I've also broken down to be month-long, and then even further down into week-long ones. Um, we get paid from my husband's employment. We get paid on a biweekly basis, and so I was able to put in his average income, what we estimated it to be, and then every single week we'd be able to figure out how much money is going to be needing to go out. For example, when we know our phone bill is going to go out, we can roughly estimate what week that will be. We can also estimate our Netflix bills and other streaming service bills that we have that we know are the same amount every month. You can write that down. Um, Also, if you know that you're going to have a trip, you can budget that out. See how much you need to save for that trip. So, um, you want to budget out and make sure that your needs, how much you need each month, is different than how much you're wanting to use each month. Sometimes we have to differentiate the two. Thanks, Andrea. um, like I said previously, like we were budgeting out our streaming services, those are more of a want. And so if a month came where maybe we were tight on cash, we might need to cancel some of those services that we don't really need to live each day, but that makes living more comfortable. It is generally advised that about 50% of your income should go towards saving for the future. So if you have a retirement account or a general savings account, you can also have some tax-free savings accounts, as well as maybe saving accounts for your kids, or if you're planning to go to university in the future, having those. And about 30% going towards what you want in life. Just be able to spoil yourself every now and then, going out to a fancy meal, and then 20 towards uh, saving for the future or saving for things that you need. Um, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. Um, so some important things about having a budget would be it gives you more confidence. You'll be able to know where your money is going as well as where your money is coming from. So sometimes we think, oh, our only money is from the work that we have, the employment that we have. Um, late, other forms of income could be from birthday gifts. Sometimes our families or friends will just give us some cash or some gift cards to use on our birthday. Um, Kind of being able to estimate that will help us know, kind of help us plan for when those dramatic influx of money, and help us not spend it all at once as well. If you know where your money is going, as I said previously, you'll be able to not overspend and overreach, um, as well as you'll be able to pay off some of those debts that you might have, your student loans, your car payments, your house payments, and any other loans that you might have in your life. So, ways that we can set a budget. There are lots of budgeting tools out there. There's paid ones and there are free ones. One of the most basic ways to have a budget is what's called the envelope method. So we get a physical envelope and we get some physical cash to put into that envelope. We write out how much, we write out what that envelope is going to be for. So we could have an envelope just for food expenses. So we know we're going to go to the grocery store every week. We're only going to spend, I don't know, in college I only spent $20. That was kind of cheap. So you just figure out how much you want to spend each time and you spend up to that amount. If you think you're going to go over that amount, move the stuff around, maybe try and find some cheaper items. Look for stuff that's on sale, and try and stick to that exact dollar amount. Another method that you could use, what I was using previously, is Excel. You can create your own little Excel spreadsheet. Put in some formulas if you're Excel savvy and love playing around with it. Just set an amount of money that you plan, just like the envelope method, how much you plan to use, and check it every single day and making sure that you're not going over that budgeted amount that you put in there. What I did is every time I bought something, I would quickly just enter it into my Excel spreadsheet. That way I could see it totaling up each single time I entered something in. It was pretty fun. Another way you can keep track of your finances, depending on how tech savvy you are, you can use a desktop or computer software. What I'm using is QuickBooks for my Mac. I'm a Mac user, where I just enter in all my credit card receipts and all my automatic bills that come out of our bank. I'm able to just enter that in really quickly every single day and look at how much I'm estimated to have in my bank. And personally, I check it every single Sunday. I log into my bank account and I check my bank account number against my QuickBooks balance and see if they match. If they don't match, I try and figure out where that money either came from or where that money went. Because as we know, sometimes when we look into our bank accounts, there's those posted transactions, meaning that they've already been processed in through the bank. And there's kind of those in transit or ones that the banks know about, like that Amazon purchase, and that they haven't quite given the money yet. So those in transit numbers will not show up on the final balance. And so that can sometimes skew and trick you into thinking that you have more money in the bank than you really do. And there's also apps on your phone that you can use. I have a few apps that I play around with every now and then. My favorite is Mint, where I'm just able to quickly, it is able to connect to my bank, and it uploads about every single day and lets me know how much money I've used. And if it thinks, it lets me know if it thinks that if I've used too much money on, say, fast food. McDonald's is a favorite in this household. We probably eat too much McDonald's, so it lets us know that. It also lets us know if we have an unusual influx of money. Not too long ago, my husband, got a pay raise, and so it triggered and said, "Hey, you have an influx. Is this a usual? Is this going to happen again? Is it usual?" And so it kind of gives you a little red flag and lets you know. Or or if you have a new transaction or new expenses. Um, so if you go to a new restaurant, it might flag that and say, "Hey, is this usual? Is this normal? Is this going to be the norm?" Things like that. It's pretty good. You can create a budget in that. I have created a video actually on how to set up and use Mint, so you can always look at that. And yeah, that's actually my favorite. I like using Mint as well as my desktop software. Uh, some softwares allow you to compare your budget amount that you've used versus your actual, and some just track what you're using. So you have to be careful on which programs that you're going to use. For example, if you use just Excel, you have to enter in that information yourself each time. You have to remember every single day to enter in. Whereas if you use an app, it can connect to your bank and it will just automatically enter in that stuff and keep you up to date. To looking at some questions that I've written down for myself. If you have questions, let me know. I like answering questions instead of answering ones I've written down. This is my first Facebook Live, so this is a new experience for me. So what we got here? So how can we budget for holidays and birthdays? So for me, I like using personal experience, if you haven't noticed. Um, I have a special bank account set aside. Sorry. What?
Hi.
Hi.
Can I open it?
No, why?
Oh, can Brandon drive me to work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. No. Yeah. Brother-in-law. Anyways. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, saving for um holidays and birthdays. Sometimes get off track. So I have a special bank account, a savings account, just normal savings account, that I know I put in a little bit of money every now and then, and it lets me save for, because we know we always spend lots and lots of money for Christmas, and so it allows me to save throughout the year for Christmas. That way, at the end of the year, when 'tis the season, when it comes, that we're not scrambling around panicking um, to find money for the holidays or for birthdays. Um, yeah, it's pretty good to save for. Um, and also, so you don't have to try and find some other random little side job to do to get that money as well. Um, if Let me see here. Sorry. Kind of all over the place, I know. If we have a budget, I personally feel like when I have a budget, I'm going to go through personal experience again here. When I have So, confession, I had a budget for most of the year this year, and then I kind of got off track um, because I got busy and I just, you know, sometimes you're in the mood for being productive, sometimes you're not. So, I had a budget, and when I did, it was pretty amazing because I was able to keep track of everything, and I felt like I was in control of my money, and I was able to know where that money was going. I was able to have more self control, knowing, okay, I have this amount of money. This much is going to go into savings no matter what, which means I can only spend X amount of money later, either later this week or later on in the month. And so budgeting helps you get that self control as well as confidence in knowing that what you're doing is it's not going to bite you in the future. It's not going to come back and haunt you and keep you up at night. And so, have a budget. Do it. It's not that hard. Um, Impulse buying. I must say, another confession. I do impulse buy every now and then. Everybody does. Sometimes you just see that amazing product on Amazon or um, Facebook Marketplace, and you're like, oh, I have to have that. Nothing will stop me from having that. If you have a budget, you might be able to, the same way as when you set aside money for holidays and birthdays, you can have a little account called your splurge account, your impulse buy account. That way, if you do get that urge, you have that money set aside and it will not strain you financially um, when it goes through the bank. Um, yeah. When you do set a budget, um, so when I was in university, I had a personal budget of spending only 20 bucks a week for food. So I either had to go to the store and buy loads and loads of ramens, $1 noodles, and use that to, help me get through those exams, or um, buy those $1 ramens and save up the 20 bucks to be able to um, go to a nicer fast food restaurant later on in the week. And so sometimes you're able to kind of adjust your spendings that way. If you know that you want to spend money later, you'd be like, okay, well, my budget was 20 bucks for food. If I save some of that, I can use it later on. So you don't have to stick strictly to the amounts that you've written down. Um, there's something else I was thinking of that has to do with budgeting, of course. No, I can't think of it. If it's important, it'll come back to me. Yep, nope, I can't think of it. Um, Sorry, I'm looking through my stuff. So, oh yes, now I remember. When we create a budget, um, so when we create a budget, it's good to do it with someone. So when I created my budget at the beginning of the year, my husband, he does not like working with numbers. Numbers is not his thing. He works with kids, and so running around um, playing Uno, that's his thing. Uno's is about the only numbers that he'll look at. So when I sat down to create our budget, I talked to him and we were able to have a conversation, even though it was a short one, about, what were our goals? What were our plans for the coming year? What did we want to be able to save for? What events did we want to go to? My husband is a huge movie watcher. He loves going to the theaters and watching whatever the newest release was. last year and this year, we watched a lot of Marvel movies. So I made sure to budget out how much we would spend each time we went to the movie theaters. And so I forgot how much. I think it was between 20 to 40 we would budget for each time because sometimes I want popcorn with my movies. And sometimes I don't care if I have popcorn. And so we'd budget that out each time. So so each month that a movie was going to come out, we knew we were going to spend 20 to $30, and that was there. That was fixed. That was not going to change. And of course, our phone bills. And doing that helped us both see that money was going to be going out of our accounts, and that there were some months where we would have to remind ourselves and remind each other that we can't spend money a certain month because either the beginning of the next month there's going to be a huge outflow of bills that need to be paid, or um, or a vacation that we wanted to save for that was going to be a few months after that. And so planning that out with either a spouse or partner um, is very, very helpful. It helps you see the bigger picture. Um, Also, if you have a family with children who you feel would understand um, the importance of seeing that budget, it'll help them appreciate the activities even more. If they know that, they have been saving, the whole family has been saving for this special event, that vacation or that event, that trip to Canada's Wonderland is that much more special to them, that much more important. Um, my husband and I, we save. We always plan out each year one big vacation that we go to. Um, we just went to Quebec. We took the train, went to, I think it's Quebec. I'm new to Canada, so my geography is not the best. So we went east to Quebec and took the train and hit a few towns. And so we knew we had to save for how much money we were planning on spending on our trip. And so every time we put money into our savings, we're like, okay, this is money for the trip. This is more that we can spend. We can go to a little bit nicer restaurants than McDonald's on our trip. And so it was really fun seeing that happen each time we were able to put money into our savings to do that. And buying those season passes to Canada Wonderland, saving that money, having that being set aside, we're like, okay, this is for paying for that season pass next year. And so it's going to be that much more fun. Now I kind of went on a random tangent there. Um, so everybody has some sort of debt or loan that they have to pay off, either be it house, student, car. There's always credit card too. There's always that, either those fixed payments that we'll be giving or that relatively fixed. It might be a couple dollars difference each month, but there's always that one big debt that's always over our head. Um, if we are able to create a long-term budget, um, we're able to see the bigger picture of, okay, we know that our debt will be paid off in 3 years, or our debt's going to be paid off in 10 years. And then seeing those increments of money planned out while you're budgeting, you might find that you have extra money just that's going to be sitting around, um, collecting dust, as it were, and that you can find those amounts to start going towards your debt. Hope that makes sense. So you'll find money that can go towards your debt if you're able to budget out how much you're using every month and every year. For myself, We have student loan, and so seeing our budget in a year long term, we're able to see, you know what, we don't need to spend X amount of dollars on groceries and fast food. We can always buy more groceries, eat out less. So that money that would have gone towards going to a nice restaurant or going to a big event that we don't really have to go to, we can just do something at home. So the monies that would have gone towards that now goes towards the student loan. And then as that loan goes down, we're able to pay off other debts that we have. And so it helps us become more free down the road. So as we pay off those loans, we're able to become more relieved that people aren't going to be hunting us down, hounding us for money. Yes, you should budget for everything. Um, it's advised that you do. You might think like, oh, I don't need to have a budget for random knickknacks, random Crayola crowns I'm going to buy on impulse. If you do like doing crafts, such as myself, um, knowing and constraining yourself will help you use those resources more sparingly and frugally. Um, I like drawing. I like making pictures, coloring. I'm still a colorer child at heart, and so knowing that I can't buy colored pencils, I can't buy crayons every week. Um, I can't buy papers to cut up and do origami every single week. That helps me enjoy my projects even more. Helps me put more passion into the colorings and the drawings that I do. So it kind of transitions that emotion, that passion, instead of worrying about like, oh my goodness, where's this money going to come from? Where after I buy something, um, instead of worrying about that, you're able to focus more on what you want to do because you've already planned out where that money came from and you know where it's going to go and the exact amount that you're going to use and not overspend. And it truly does help. Some resources that can help you. The If you're in Canada, the Canada.ca has excuse me, it has many financial resources for you. You can um, I'll link one that I really like, which is also in the blog post, is talking about making a budget. Um, it gives you steps on how you can make a budget, how you're able um, to start with this big idea of, okay, I need to make a budget. Where do I start? Um, so you'd start by first seeing where your money is going. You don't have to make a budget on day one. You see where it's coming from. You take a week, start today or tomorrow. I guess it's like tomorrow. Um, write out every single time you spend money. Write out every single time you use a credit card and how much it was. Um, Once you see that, you're able to figure out, okay, I spend $2 each day for my coffee. I spend $2 each day for my cocoa. I'm a cocoa addict. And so seeing that, you just look where your money is going. And then from there, you're able to see, okay, so I can, let's see, I can spend $10 each day if I buy cocoa only on weekdays. Looking at that, that was a lot of money. that can be spent elsewhere or even saved for the future. Because $2 today or $2 in the future, um, if it is saved and invested properly, will be worth more in the future. Um, Another thing that they kind of mention here on this little resource is is sticking to your budget. So we all know when we go to either the grocery store or a restaurant, they give us our receipts, and we're like, oh, okay, cool, receipt, crumple up, throw it away. um, I do that sometimes, even at the gas station. If you get a receipt, you're like, oh, random piece of paper, I don't need that. Um, but if we're able to keep our receipts, we're able to look back, keep them, look back at them, and we're also able to see the trend, some trends of our spendings. Like maybe we spend $5 today, whereas next week we're starting to spend $10 each day on something. And if you have those receipts from the past, you're like, okay, why did my bill go up? Why did my bill go from $5 to $10? Look at each item and see, okay, well, I'm buying the nicer, more expensive orange or something. And so you start looking for those deals, those bargains at places to bring your bill back down to $5. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Why? Ah, sorry. This is new for me. Um, if we save today, we will have money in the future. That's it's a basic fact of life. We all hear that saying, "Save now for your future." Um, if we do save now, we're able to be more relaxed. If you looked at that TED Talk I posted earlier this week, um, if we're saving, we're able to support ourselves in the future. We're not having to rely on our children or grandchildren to support us in the future when we are unable to work things. Finding, getting connected with a financial advisor, an accountant, a tax preparer, anybody um, who knows anything about money. If we can connect with someone that can, who is financially savvy, um, they will give us the guidance that we need to prepare for that future. We want to be financially free. We want to be able to have money coming in and us not worrying if all that money is going to go plus more. Um, Financially independent is what I've heard it as. Um, being able to use money the way we want to instead of others choosing where that money is going. Um, and I mean by having all those bills and things that are needing to be paid. Um, if you have any questions, type them in and I will try and um, answer those questions. There's also lots of financial advisors that we know and other accountants, um, tax preparers, and things that we can connect you with. Um, Lots of friendly people. We know a lot of friendly financial advisors. They won't talk over your head big words. They will keep it simple. Um, so everybody can understand and everybody's on the same page. Um, that's pretty much it for me. It was fun doing this for the first time. Let me know what you think by personal messaging. Um, yeah, and I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you enjoy this. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Like I said previously, I'm not going to say big words that will go over your head and intimidate you. Um, I truly do try and simplify everything for those who ask. I try and make sure that everything's understood before I move on to any other concept or topic. I hope you guys have a great either rest of the day if you're watching this during the day or a great evening. Um, I forget what movie it is where the guy says good day, good evening, good night, whatever it is, you probably know the movie, you probably know the line better than me. So that. And I hope to see you guys again in the future. Bye.